The jungle was silent. Only the wind moved between the thick alien trees, whispering through twisted branches. Ash and smoke floated in the air. The battle was over. The ground was wet with blood, both human and alien. She was the last one left. The alien warrior girl. Her armor was broken, one leg barely working. Her long gray hair was dirty, matted with sweat and dust. Her sharp golden eyes stared ahead as she crawled across the ground, dragging her body forward. Her people had left. Her behind. She had fought well, killed many humans. She was fast, deadly feared. But now she was just a wounded creature, breathing heavy, her energy gone. She reached a small clearing and collapsed, and then she heard footsteps, crunch, crunch, crunch. Slow, heavy, calm. A human soldier stepped into the clearing, tall, strong, holding a large plasma rifle. His armor was dirty but intact. A red mark showed his rank. His helmet was off, his face covered in blood and dust. His eyes locked on hers. She froze. Her heart raced. She knew what this meant. Execution. She pushed herself up slowly and got on her knees. Her arms hung by her sides. Her breathing was shaky. She looked up at him, meeting his eyes without fear. She was proud even in defeat. "I'm not afraid," she said, her voice soft, weak. "Do it." He stood there, silent. She waited. Seconds passed, still nothing. Her eyes narrowed. "What are you waiting for? Kill me." The human didn't move. He looked down at her with an unreadable expression. Then he did something she didn't expect. He dropped his gun. Clunk. The rifle hit the dirt near his boots. The alien girl blinked, confused. What are you doing?" she asked. He stepped closer, slowly, calmly, no fear in his face. He reached into his belt and pulled out a small canteen. Without a word, he unscrewed the top and knelt beside her. He held it out. Water. She stared at it like it was poison. "You think I'll trust that?" she said, her voice trembling now. "You're dying," he replied. "Water won't kill you." His voice was calm. Not angry, not cruel, just tired. She looked at the canteen, then at him. His eyes were kind, too kind for a soldier. Her people had told her humans were monsters, killers, cold and brutal. But this one didn't look like a monster. He looked human. She took the canteen with a shaking hand. Slowly she drank. The water was warm and tasted like metal, but it felt like life. When she finished, she handed it back. "Why?" she asked. "Why help me?" He sat down on the dirt, a few feet away. "Because you didn't give up," she frowned. "So what?" "I'm still your enemy." "Not anymore," he said simply. A long silence passed between them. The wind moved again, gentle and cold. "I thought you'd kill me," she whispered. "I know. Then why didn't you?" He looked up at the sky, where smoke still rose in the distance. "I've killed enough today." The alien girl felt something strange, not fear, not hate, something else. Something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Her body was shaking, now not from pain, but from something deeper. Her mind couldn't understand what was happening. She had expected pain, torture, death, but he gave her water. He gave her life. "You're strange," she said softly. He gave a small smile. "That's what people say." She looked at him closely now. His face had scars. His eyes were tired. But there was something warm in him. Something strong. She didn't know what it was, but she didn't hate it. Far in the jungle, the sound of engines roared. Dropships were moving again. The war was still going on somewhere out there. But in this moment, in this quiet clearing, something else had begun. Not war, not hate. Something new. The alien girl lowered her head. "I'm tired," she said. The human stood up and offered his hand. "Then rest." She hesitated. Then, slowly, she took it. He pulled her up gently, supporting her weak body. She leaned on him, her strength gone. Step by step, they moved through the trees together. An alien warrior who expected to die. And a human soldier who chose to save. Asterisk, she didn't remember falling asleep. She only remembered the heat of his arm supporting her. And then, nothing. Now she woke up with a jolt. Her eyes snapped open. She was lying on a soft surface, not dirt, not stone, but a bed made of fabric, warm, clean. Light shined through a small metal vent above her. She was in a room, not a cage, not a prison cell. Just a room. Her body, T-E-N-S-E-D. She sat up fast, but pain shot through her side. She winced, clutching her ribs. Her leg was wrapped tightly with bandages. Her arm had stitches. Someone had treated her wounds. She looked around. The room was small, metal walls, a single chair, a table with a folded blanket. A glowing blue screen blinked silently in the corner. It wasn't alien technology. It was human. Then she saw it. A tray of food and a metal cup sat next to her. She reached for it quickly, sniffed the contents. Bread, fruit, something warm in a sealed bowl. It wasn't poisoned. She didn't know how she could tell. But she just knew. Still, she didn't eat it. Her trust had limits. Just then, the door slid open with a soft whoosh. The human soldier stepped in. No armor, no gun, just a plain gray shirt, boots, and a calm face. "You're awake," he said. Nodding. She didn't answer. He stepped closer and pointed at the food. "You should eat. You've been out for 2 days." "2?" she whispered. He nodded. "You passed out from blood loss. I brought you here. This is my outpost. You kept me alive." She muttered. His expression didn't change. "You needed help." She stared at him with narrowed eyes. "Am I a prisoner?" He thought for a moment before replying. "Would it change how you feel if I said no?" She didn't answer. Instead, she looked at her own body, clean, dressed in simple cloth, her wounds cared for. No cuffs, no chains, no electric collars. This wasn't how humans treated enemies. At least, not what her people had told her. "What do you want from me?" she asked finally. He sat down in the chair, across from her. "I don't want anything." "Lies," she spat. "Humans always want something. Control, revenge, power. Not all of us," he said calmly. She shook her head. "Then why? Why not leave me to die like everyone else?" He looked her in the eyes. His voice was quiet, but strong. "Because you didn't beg. You didn't scream. You faced death like a warrior. I respect that." She blinked. Respect? Nobody had used that word for her in years. "You're strange," she whispered again. "You said that already," he smiled. She hated it. The way he made her feel. Safe. No one in her life had made her feel that. Not her commanders. Not her allies, not even her own blood. "You're still my enemy," she said. He leaned back. "Then rest. And when you're strong enough to fight again, I won't stop you." Her jaw tightened. "You'd let me walk away? If that's what you choose." She stared at him like he was speaking another language. In her world, weakness was punished. Trust was dangerous. Mercy was death. But here he had no chains. No threats, only food, warmth, silence. That silence was the most dangerous thing. It made her think, and thinking hurt more than her wounds. Finally she picked up the warm bowl. She ate slowly, her eyes never leaving him. He didn't move. Didn't ask questions. Just sat there. Like he wasn't guarding her, but waiting for her. When she finished, she placed the empty bowl down. Her voice came out low. "What's your name?" He looked up. "Dale." She hesitated. Then said, "Mine is Kira." It was the first time she had said her name in weeks. Maybe months. He nodded. Kira. A strong name. She didn't know why. But those words hit deep. Her chest felt tight. She looked away. "Don't think this means I trust you," she said quickly. He nodded. "That's okay. You don't have to." The door slid open behind him. He stood. "There's a spare uniform in the drawer," he said. "Your armor's ruined. Get some rest. I'll be nearby." She watched as he walked out. The door closed. Softly behind him, Kira sat there frozen. She didn't understand what this was. A trap? A game? Or something else? She looked down at her healing hands. And for the first time in her life, she wondered what peace might feel like. Kira found the mirror by accident. It was small, scratched, half buried in a drawer. She pulled it out and stared into it for a long time. She almost didn't recognize herself. Her skin was marked with healing wounds. Her right cheek still had dried blood. One eye was slightly swollen. But the worst marks weren't the ones she could see. It was the emptiness behind her own eyes. The silence was loud in the room. The kind of silence that makes your thoughts louder than you want them to be. She dropped the mirror and walked toward the window. Outside, the jungle was still, quiet, peaceful even, but inside her, a storm raged. Then came a knock. The door slid open a second later. Dale stepped in, holding 2 metal cups. "Found some real coffee in supply," he said. "Or maybe it's old soup pretending to be coffee." She didn't smile, but she didn't glare either. Progress. He handed her the cup. She took it carefully. They sat in silence, drinking. Kira glanced at him. He had a long scar running across the left side of his neck. She hadn't noticed before. "What happened there?" she asked suddenly. He looked at her, surprised she spoke first. "Shrapnel. A blast hit our transport 2 years ago. I was lucky. Others weren't." She nodded. He sipped his drink. "You?" She hesitated. Then, slowly, she raised her left arm, rolled up the sleeve of the borrowed human uniform. Underneath, a jagged burn stretched from elbow to wrist. "My first commander said I hesitated. He burned me for it." Dale stared at the scar, quietly. Not with pity, but with respect. "That's not a scar," he said. "That's proof you survived something no one should have to." She looked at him sharply. His words were too soft, too kind. It made her feel exposed. "Why do you care?" She snapped. "Why do you say these things?" "Because no one said them to me when I needed to hear them," he answered. Kira looked away, her jaw tight. "Do you know what my people did to me?" she said quietly. "When I couldn't fight for a month, they locked me in a dark hole, called me useless. They said I was born to die for them. That was my purpose." Dale listened. No interruptions. No judgment. She went on, voice trembling now. "I tried to believe them. I tried to be what they wanted, but I was always too soft. Too weak, they said." "You're not weak, Dale." Sighed, she looked at him again. His eyes didn't flinch. "You survived betrayal. You lived through war, and you're still standing. That's not weakness. That's strength." Kira stood up suddenly, walked a few steps away, breathing hard. "I don't want to believe you," she said. "Because if you're right, then everything I was taught is a lie." Dale stood too. He didn't move closer. Just stood with her. "Maybe it is," he said. "But maybe that's a good thing." She turned toward him. Her voice was sharp. "You don't know me." "I'm trying to," he said. The silence returned. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It was gentle. After a while, Kira walked back to the table. She sat down and whispered, "I saw your scar. You saw mine. Maybe that makes us even." Dale gave a small nod. "Not even," he said, "but it makes us human." She blinked. "I'm not human. Doesn't matter, the pain is." Kira didn't reply, but she didn't argue either. That night, long after Dale left the room, Kira sat on the bed and stared at her own hands. They used to be weapons. Now, they were just hands. Hands that could heal. Hands that might hold something new. And deep inside her, where only darkness used to live, something small began to glow. Not trust. Not yet. But maybe. Hope. The first bullet wasn't meant for her, but it nearly ended her life anyway. It tore through the air, past Kira's head, and buried itself in the wall behind her. She froze. Her hands instinctively reached for a weapon, but there was none. Outside the room, voices shouted. Heavy boots stomped. On the metal floor, the door slammed open. 3 human soldiers stormed in, guns raised. Down! Hands up! One barked. Kira didn't move. She stared at the rifles pointed at her. Her body shook, not from fear, but from memory. She had seen this before, the look of soldiers ready to kill. No questions. No mercy. One soldier stepped forward. Angry and young, his eyes locked onto her. That's her. That's the alien from the jungle, I said, hands up. He shouted. She slowly raised her hands. That's when Dale appeared behind them. Stand down! His voice thundered. The soldiers turned. Sir, she's a threat. She should be in chains. She's under my protection, Dale said firmly. She's the enemy. She saved my life and yours too, when we were ambushed in Sector 12. Kira's heart pounded. They were talking about her. One of the soldiers hesitated. You trust her? Dale looked at Kira. Then he looked at the men. She's not our enemy, not anymore. Silence. Then one soldier lowered his weapon. The young one didn't. She's a killer. She's also a survivor, Dale replied. Same as us. The young soldier sneered. She doesn't belong here. Kira stood slowly. Her voice was calm. Then I'll leave. Everyone turned toward her. If I'm not welcome, she said, I won't stay. I'm not here to beg. But then something unexpected happened. Dale stepped between her and the rifles. If she goes, I go. Kira's eyes widened. The soldiers were stunned. Double quote, sir, you're choosing her? I'm choosing what's right. The tension in the room was thick. Seconds felt like minutes. Finally, the youngest soldier lowered his gun, but not his anger. This is a mistake. He walked out. The others followed. The door closed. Kira sat down, her hands still shaking. You didn't have to do that, she whispered. Yes, I did. You could lose your rank. I already lost too much in this war. I won't lose my soul too. Kira looked at him, confused. Why do you keep protecting me? Because I see who you are, he said softly, and I think you're still trying to see it too. That night, Kira stood by the window. The stars above were clear, no gunships, no explosions, just silence. She felt something new. She wasn't afraid. Not of humans, not of herself. Not anymore. The warning alarm didn't come in time. 1 second. Kira was staring at the stars above the outpost roof, thinking about nothing and everything. The next, the sky lit up with fire. Boom! The ground shook beneath her. Explosions echoed in the distance. The jungle roared back to life. She jumped to her feet. Gunfire. Screams. Shadows moved fast between the trees. Not human. Not friendly. It was an ambush. The enemy had come. Dale burst through the door below. Kira, inside now. But she was already climbing down. I can fight, she said, voice sharp. He tossed her a weapon, a pulse rifle. Her hands gripped it like second nature. Stay close, he said. They moved together through the smoke-filled hallway. Lights flickered. Human soldiers ran past, shouting orders. Enemy forces breached the perimeter. Someone yelled. Kira saw them, alien raiders in dark armor, her former kin. She recognized their movements, their formations. Her body moved without thinking. Cover. Aim. Fire. Zrakk. She hit the first attacker square in the chest. He fell before he even saw her. She wasn't one of them anymore. Dale noticed. You still remember how to shoot, he said. I never forgot. They pushed through the corridors, covering each other. At one point, Dale slipped behind a wall to reload. A raider leapt toward him from the side. Kira didn't hesitate. She grabbed her blade and drove it into the attacker's side. He collapsed. Dead. Dale looked at her, breathless. "You saved me." "You saved me first," she replied. The words felt strange on her tongue, but they were true. A young human soldier was pinned behind a fallen beam, bleeding. Kira ran to him without being asked. She lifted the beam with Dale's help, pulled him out, and returned fire at the enemies closing in. The soldier looked at her in shock. "You're helping us?" Kira didn't reply. She just reloaded. There was no time for questions, only survival. Hours passed. The battle burned through the outpost and into the jungle. Kira fought like a ghost, silent, swift, deadly. But this time, she fought to protect, not to destroy. By dawn, the attackers were gone. Bodies covered the ground. Smoke rose in the distance. The outpost was damaged, but still standing. Kira stood on the wall, breathing hard, her clothes torn, her skin burned in places. Dale joined her, also wounded, but alive. "You were incredible," he said. She looked at the battlefield. "I only did what I had to," he nodded. "Still, you saved lives tonight." Other soldiers began gathering. Some stared at her with fear, some with respect, and some just confused. Kira looked down at her blood-stained hands. She had fought for the humans, and something inside her didn't feel wrong. Dale placed a hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to be what they made you," he said quietly. "You can be something else." She looked at him. For once, she believed it might be true. The handcuffs felt heavier than they looked. Kira sat in the center of the human base's command room, her wrists bound in cold metal. She didn't fight. She didn't speak. She just stared at the floor. She had saved their lives. But now, they looked at her like a traitor. 6 high-ranking officers surrounded her in a circle. Their uniforms were clean. Their eyes were cold. Only one of them had a familiar face. Dale. He stood behind her, silent, watching. One officer spoke first, a woman with sharp eyes. "Tell us why you fought for us, alien." Kira didn't answer. Another man stepped forward. "You expect us to believe you suddenly grew a heart? That you betrayed your kind for no reason?" Still, she stayed quiet. The third officer slammed a file on the table. "We have reports of your past. You killed 12 humans in battle last year. And now, you want us to believe you've changed?" Finally, she lifted her head. "I didn't come here to ask for your trust," she said. "I came here to tell you the truth. They leaned in. I was born to kill, trained to obey, but none of it was my choice. When I got injured, my people left me behind like trash. I thought your soldier would kill me too, but he didn't. He gave me water. He gave me a chance." The woman crossed her arms. "And we're supposed to accept that as enough?" "No," Kira said calmly. "You're not, but I won't lie to you. I don't know if I'm your ally. I only know I'm not their weapon anymore." The room went quiet. Then the older man at the center spoke. "We've seen people change, but we've also seen clever enemies trick us. This is war. We can't afford to be wrong." He looked at Dale. "You brought her here. You risked your life. Why?" Dale didn't hesitate. "Because I saw someone who didn't want to kill anymore. I saw someone who saved 3 soldiers without being asked. Someone who could have run, but stayed to protect. She's not the same as she was," he added, "and neither am I." The officers looked at each other. Then the woman spoke. Again, "Major Dale, step outside." Dale hesitated, then walked out. The door shut behind him. Kira was alone. They spoke quietly among themselves. Minutes passed like hours. Her hands tightened in the cuffs. Then the door opened. Dale returned. His face was unreadable. The lead officer stood. "We've made a decision." Kira stood slowly. "You will be transferred," the officer said, "to a secured neutral colony. No chains, no prison, but watched. If you prove you're truly not a threat, you will be free. Kira blinked. And if I don't? Then we will treat you as an enemy, again. She nodded once. Fair. The cuffs were removed. Dale stepped forward. I'll go with her, he said. The officers stared at him. You're willing to give up your post? I already made my choice, he replied. Kira looked at him. Why? He gave a small smile. Because someone gave me a chance once too. Asterisk, she had never seen children laugh before. Not freely. Not like this. Kira stood at the edge of the playground, frozen, watching them run through the dusty field on the edge of the neutral colony. Human kids and alien kids together, shouting, playing, throwing balls. No war, no fear. Just life. It felt like a dream she was never meant to see. But she was awake. And alive. 3 weeks had passed since she arrived at the colony with Dale. No cuffs. No guards. Just a tracking band on her wrist and curious stares from strangers. People whispered about her. That's the alien warrior. She fought for the humans. Some didn't trust her, but some smiled. And every day, more of them smiled. She worked in the medical center now, helping wounded civilians, fixing broken machines, carrying supplies, not killing, not hiding. Just helping. Today, Dale was fixing a solar panel near the school. His jacket was tied around his waist. He waved. When he saw her and she waved back, Kira had never waved at anyone before. It felt strange. It felt good. Later that night, they sat on the roof of their shared quarters. Stars filled the sky like tiny fires, burning across the dark. She hugged her knees. Quiet. He handed her a warm drink. You didn't run, he said softly. I thought about it, she admitted. Why didn't you? She looked up at him, her silver hair glowing in the moonlight. Because this doesn't feel like a cage. Dale nodded. She continued, voice low. All my life, I thought I had one path. One purpose. Fight, obey, die. But now. He waited. She looked at her hands, clean, steady, alive. Now I don't know what I am, she said. That's a good thing, he replied. Means you get to decide. She gave him a look. That's simple, huh? Maybe not simple, he sighed, but real. A soft wind passed over them. Kira reached into her pocket and pulled out a small metal tag. Her old military badge, burned, bent, worthless. She stared at it for a moment, then threw it off the roof. It landed somewhere in the dirt, forgotten. She smiled, a real smile. You know, she said, the first time I saw you, I hated you. I figured, Dale chuckled. And when you gave me water, I thought it was a trick. It wasn't. I know that now, she said, her voice warm. You did something different. Something no one else ever did. What's that? You saw me, she whispered. Dale didn't answer. He just looked at her with the same calm, steady eyes that had never once treated her like a monster. She leaned against him gently, not as a soldier, not as a weapon, but as a person. A future she never expected had finally arrived, and this time she wasn't afraid to live it.